Hi all, welcome to the channel, welcome to the workshop. We now have the next 4 stages of FanHomes Build Kit from the Knight Rider. As you can see, I've got the bodywork up on the bench, and that's because we're going to be adding a few large parts to it. So we've got the T-tops to put in, we've also got the rear hatch to put in, and I believe we've even got one of the rear panels, but I don't believe we're fitting it to the car this time around. So without further ado, let's get building. Right, so we're kicking off this build pack with issue 87. So just give you a quick flick through the magazine. And as you can see here, we've got the rear hatch. And we're going to be attaching that to kit. It does say about attaching it just temporarily to just test the lights. I don't see there's any point in doing that unless you've done something to the headlights since you last tested it. There's nothing that should have gone wrong. So I'm not going to worry about that step. Because it does just say to take it back off the body and keep it, take it off the chassis and keep it to one side. So I'm not even going to worry about testing that. So that's the magazine. Now let's check out these parts. Right, so we've got a couple of hinges. We've got some AP screws. We've got some AM screws. And let's just get this out. Check that out. That looks absolutely fantastic. Now this is a plastic part. It's just got the black paint there. So we want to be careful when screwing into these parts with the hinges, just to make sure that we don't break off these sections here. And obviously, once this is on the car, we want to be very, very careful that we don't end up cracking this or breaking this in some way. We do have the rear section. I'll just show you that a second. So in issue 88, we do have this rear section to put together. Now, I'm going to probably take it a little bit out of order, and I'm also going to be doing issue 88 before it goes on the car, because I believe it's going to be easier to do this before it's on the car. I'm sure that if we try doing this while it's on the car, it would be very, very easy to break or crack these hinges. So I'm going to put the bits of 87 just there. I'll quickly show you through 88, but this will be 88 and 87 that we're doing. And as you can see, we've got the rear section of the boot. So, and again, you can see we've got all these, we've got like 6 screws here just to try and sandwich those 2 bits together. And you try and do that while it's up at this sort of angle, it's going to be really, really difficult. And I think it's going to be much easier that we can actually move this around and flip it around. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I'll get those parts as well. So here we have the parts of 88. We've got this little latch. We've got some finer details just here. We have the rear boot part and the spoiler. Again, these are both plastic, as with that piece there. I believe these are just the bits that hold the spoiler up. So we'll look at those, and that's, I think, is just the latch for the boot. Now, we don't want to scratch any of these parts, so I'm just going to put those over there for a moment, along with the screws. And we're going to use our partwork upgrades mat. Now we don't scratch that windshield or rear boot lid whilst we're doing any of this work and smoothing it around. And the very first thing I'm going to be doing is putting the hinges onto the boot lid. And where we're going to be doing that is we're going to just open those out. It's you can see we've got 3 holes on one side, 2 holes on the other. It's 2 holes that we're looking at putting on there. And they're going that way around. You can see they've got this sort of U shape and it's going that way round. We're going to secure those in place with a couple of AP screws. Now we do want these tight, but at the same time you do also want to go very gently because you don't want to break the plastic. So you've got one in there. And then we do the exact same thing on this side. Just make sure that they go in straight. If you find it getting a bit tough, just back it out a little bit and then screw it back in. That just helps it cut the threads and it means you don't damage your part. Now you do want them tight, but don't over tighten them, otherwise you will just strip the threads out. So that's in there, just like that. Now the next step would be attach that to the car. However, as I said, I'm actually going to work on this bit first and then attach it to the car as one piece. Right, so the first one I'm going to be doing, this is obviously the first part of issue 88. We're just going to be taking the parts off the little sprue. Now you don't want to cut them flush, you do want that little nub there, I believe, because that will help you locate it in there when it comes to attaching it, like so. But what we're going to be doing first is getting our spoiler. And we're just going to be lining those up. We've got a little nub there and we've got a hole that goes all the way through. And we're just going to be placing those just like that. We're going to do the same on this side, just placing it in. Make sure it's the right way around. Now there is one indent and one hole. Now we sort of need to balance that in place. And then we're going to be placing this like so, and lining up those holes like so. And then we're using a PP screw to go all the way through and into the spoiler. And that will sandwich those together and hold it all together. So that's looking just like that. The spoiler in place. Right, so the next thing we're going to be doing is attaching this piece to here. And to do that, we need this cream piece, this inner piece. We need our latch, and you'll notice that the latch is got this U shape and one edge is longer than the other. I believe the long edge will be going in the center part of this. So you've got it looking just like that. And then we have the window going on there, like so. And then we have the latch, which there is actually a little indent there, so it might be easier to just sit that like that, and then place this over the top, like so. So that's looking just like that. And then we've got the 6 BP screws to hold that in place. And can you imagine doing this while having to have the cart upside down or at a weird angle? I'm sure this is the much easier way of doing it. Now obviously while doing this, don't put too much pressure because it is only plastic, and you also don't want to snap your spoiler if you press down on that section there. That's the last one going in just there. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 screws just along there. Right, and the last thing to do now, which would be the last thing to do for 87, because we've completed 88, and that is attach the rear window to this. And I'm just going to fold those down a little bit so that they sit in there nicely. And we've got the AM screws for that. And we are only using a single AM screw just in the middle of these 3 holes. And again, we are going into metal, so you know what that means. Dip it in some oil. So got those nice and tight in there, just like so. And KITT now has the rear hatch. Now, obviously, with that on there, that's at the point where we would have been expected to try and sandwich that together, try and put 6 screws in, try and keep that latch in one place. I think my way was much easier. Right, we'll just move on to issue 89. And again, another quick flick through the magazine. And as you can see in this one, we've got the Tiger tops or T-tops. They do call them windows here, so left and right roof windows. But that's what we're doing now. Right, so this is what we have. We have the left and right roof panels, looking just like that, with a little bit of interior detail there. Same with this one. And we have the central bar. Again, that's plastic. So everything here is plastic. And we've got some QM screws. We're just going to move those to one side for the moment, because the first thing we need this, and we need 2 of the QM screws, which I'm just going to put over there for a second, because we need to bring KITT in. And we are going to need to turn KITT upside down. Right, so just going to flip KITT upside down. And just watch out for your windows, etc. And the rear hatch that we've now put in. And we're going to be putting this piece in. Now, we've got one piece that's lower than the other. We've got the instructions show A and B. Now, B is going towards the rear. So we're going to just place that in like so. I'm going to use a couple of the QM screws to hold that in place. Again, just putting that in a drop of oil. Just going to lift the front end of KITT up, because at the moment the power upgrades mat is pushing that out of place. That's one in. And then we've got number 2 going in just here. Now we're going to just flip KITT back over. And we now have the roof panels to put in place. So the way we're going to be doing that is we're just going to slot that into the front, and then we're just going to let it rest into that position just there. Same with this side. We're just going to let it rest in that channel. Obviously, when we put the piece on there, it will just hold those 2 bits in place. But that's what the bits are looking like, just in place like that. Now, I can't say that these will open very well, personally, at the moment. Be interesting to see how that works when we've got everything all attached properly. But anyway, that is all there is to do in that stage. Now, I'm going to put KITT to one side, because I believe the last stage we're only working on the wing, or the rear wing, and we don't actually attach it to KITT. So that's all there is to do with the bodywork for KITT this stage round. Right, so issue 90, last one of the pack. So just take a quick look through again. And as you can see, we have the rear corner, or the rear wing. And we're not doing a great deal with it, but we're definitely not attaching it to the vehicle this time around. So these are the parts we've got. We've got this little vent, we've got this little catch, we've got a couple of GM screws, we've got a couple of BP screws, and after all the plastic we've been doing with this build pack, we have this nice big chunk of metal. Look at that. Looking absolutely brilliant. And first thing we're going to be doing is getting this vent piece here. It is shaped, and it's going to sit in just like that. And we're going to use a BP screw to hold that in place. So just going in from the rear there, like so. And then we have this catch, and it's got a keyhole pattern on it, and that's just going to go in like so. I do realise it's black on black and it's difficult to see, but it's going in there, and I say it's got a keyhole pattern on it. And we're going to use a GM screw for that one. And that is all there is to do in that stage, and that's all there is to do in that build pack. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please remember to give me a big thumbs up. So KITT is really taking shape now with the roof panels in place, the rear hatches in place. And obviously we've got this body panel that we're not attaching at the moment. So there's not a great deal of body panels left. We've only got this top section that's got to go in. We've got another rear panel come here. And then we're just really focusing on the rear here. So there's not really a great deal of the bodywork left to do. Obviously, we're going to have probably a marker light in here, same as we do on the front. I am going to be placing an LED in here. These are the LEDs that I've got that are spare at the moment from the original screens. Obviously, I've put the Model Mods screen in at the moment, so it meant that these two LEDs are completely spare. So I'm going to use those to light up the front marker lights on here. If you want to see that or anything else that goes on in the workshop, please do remember to hit that subscribe button and ding that bell, and then you'll be notified when I release a new video. Until the next time, I'll hopefully see you around. Cheers!